All right. So I was actually watching Area 52's new video yesterday, the one about the Lacerta Files, and so I had done this already. I had read this, made this video, much in the same way that Chris did in Area 52 with the Lacerta Files. Only mine was Throwayllien's story, and like I had almost damn near given up. I had bought another Rode mic, not this one, but another one that was a USB-C connect. Long story short, it broke. I ordered a new one, and as I was plugging it in, or when I plugged it in, and I wanted to see how much this thing rotated, and I was pulling it back over, the USB-C part just snapped off the fucking, not just snapped off like the cord itself, but also the USB-C port snapped off of the motherboard inside of the microphone. So not only did I lose my refund, also because Amazon's fucking sent my refund of $105 to the wrong fucking debit card, because first of all, the one I bought the mic with was a new debit card that I had recently gotten, and somehow they're trying to tell me that my primary card was an old card. I'm like, that's impossible, because I remember looking at my current card as primary card several times in the last few fucking weeks. Anyways, that sucked. But there's a way apparently I can get it back. I just have to go through my bank. So, I was a little defeated. I know I got this. And then fucking Friday comes along, and the Lacerta Files. And boy, did it fucking remind me of this story. And boy, do a few things line up that make me believe this story even more now, and dare I say, to even the Lacerta Files. So let's dig into it. So all right, this happened in 2013. It was posted on r/Ask Reddit or Askmeanything, something like that. I think it was Ask Reddit. And I'm gonna say this right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I forgot some things, but I think that this shares a lot of similarities to the Lacerta Files. And I'll explain how, too, when, I don't know if I'll do it during, after, I'll figure that out as we edit. Anyways, Throawaylien's first reply to alien abductees of Reddit, or people who have claimed to see a UFO. What's your story? Throwaylien goes, throwaway account because I'm afraid. I was first abducted in 1987. I was 12 years old. I say abducted, but it's not like that. Actually, you go willingly. It's scary, but it's exciting too, and they are somehow able to make you feel okay about things. It's not until later that you feel bad or like you've been violated, and they don't do a lot of probing, like raping or anything like that. That's Hollywood nonsense. They look inside of people sometimes, but they have machines to do that. Not really machines, but it's like a room where things get done and the walls are... It's hard to explain. So just imagine that the walls are kind of like x-ray machines. That's the easiest way to describe it. Sometimes there would be others there, and they would be looking into them, or they'd put them under and cut them open, but not usually. They took tissue samples from all of us, I think, and they never put you under or give you any anesthetic or anything. They just poke you with like those things. They take samples of the ocean floor, ? Some of the grammar in here is a little like, but not much of it. It's actually pretty well written. Sometimes there would be others there, and they would be looking into them, or they'd put them under and cut them open, but not usually. They took tissue samples from all of us, I think, and they never put you under or give you any anesthetic or anything. They just poke you with like those things. They take samples of the ocean floor, like that, but really small. They pull out chunks of you. It's usually done on the butt or on the lower back. Mostly they talked with me, just questions, and they'd show me things, like television shows and things, and they'd ask me questions about them. I think the walls measure our reaction to things too, same as they take x-rays. I don't know that, but it's the feeling that I got. They never let you ask questions about what they are doing. Even once I got friendly with a few of them, they just do not like it when you ask them questions. They hate it. You can't understand their language. It just sounds like, I'm positive that we'll never be able to communicate in their language, with them in their language. I should mention that these are the grays that you hear about, except they aren't gray. They are sort of beige, and it's clothes anyways. They aren't naked. I don't know if there are others. People say there are, but I've only ever met these. Anyway, you cannot understand them, but they can understand you. And they can put thoughts into your head, and they can't hear your thoughts. And you have to speak to them. They cannot hear very well, or else they are not good at understanding English, so you have to speak loudly and slowly. I don't know if they understand other languages, but I'm pretty sure they would. They are interested in all of us, in everything that goes on. They like a lot of things about our culture, too. They like some of our music. Bluegrass is their favorite as far as I've seen. They like it a lot. They love that African instrument that looks like a gourd with 13 strings. Love it. But they cannot stand horns or horn music. So they hate classical music and jazz. I think trumpets sort of sound like their language. It's a feeling that I get, but I've never been able to ask them. I'm sorry, I have like so much phlegm today. Anyways, continuing on. They've taken me up just about every 2 years, I'd say, since 1987. Just about. Sometimes it's more often. And I didn't go up at all between 1995 and 2000. Okay. They usually keep me for what feels like a day, but it turns out to be about 4 hours. Usually is what he says. About 4 hours, usually. Okay. The longest I stayed with them was 3 weeks. During that time, they made me make phone calls and keep up appearances. They aren't really bad. Well, I was gonna say people, but they're not really bad people or whatever. And this is one of the things that just hooked me, where I was like, I don't know. They aren't really bad. Dun, 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 dun. Dot, 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 people. Well, I was gonna say people. It's a really sophisticated schizophrenic if it's not real, huh? All right. So he goes, the two that I got sort of close with told me to call them Jack and Gina. I don't know if they are male or female, or even if they have different sexes, but I know that those aren't their real names. Those are just names that they told me. Well, I mean, no shit. They will make contact with Earth on a wide scale in 2021, which is like 4 years ago. And by the way, there's a reason I'm making this whole fucking video, guys. It's because I have a whole theory that I'm going to break down as to why this actually did happen. Well, not really happened. It didn't happen the way the aliens wanted it planned or whatever. I'm not even going to call them aliens. The things wanted it planned. So they abandoned ship. They were like, fuck that. We're not going to do the OG plan, and we'll just do it like a little bit different. And I'll get to that. Anyways, that's the year when they'll land here or colonize or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what their plan is. They don't seem to be evil or dangerous. Their planet is, so they told me anyway, a very long way away. They couldn't explain to me how far. They said because it was too far away for me to understand, but also close to the side. I have no idea what that meant, but it's always stuck with me. Home is too far away for you to understand, but also close to the side. We don't have anything that they want, so they told me. So I don't really know why they come here, or why they've taken so many of us up, or why they've gotten to be friends with me. They do not have any religion, and they don't need oxygen or water or trees or anything. I don't think. They don't eat people. I don't think they want to breed with us or genetically engineer us. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want, but they've been coming here for, I'd guess, at least 10,000. I don't know what they want, but they've been coming here for, I'd guess, at least 10 or 20,000 years. I'm not very good about history and Upper Paleolithic and all that, but they've got video of all sorts of us, and they showed me video of Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon, which really were just like us humans. And he put just in all caps, by the way, guys. Just like us humans. Except they all had black skin. Way less diversity. Which makes sense, right? I mean, if we all originated from Africa, if the traits coming out of there over the last 2 million years, right, from hominid evolution. I digress. He goes, and they showed me video of the pyramids being built and this huge stone building that I guess is lost somewhere or was destroyed, but it was in Europe. I could tell from the video. They showed me some of them and asked me questions about them, but I couldn't understand any of it because I only speak English. And even English from 200 or 300 years ago is so different that I could hardly understand it. So I told them that they probably knew more about it than I did. I was up 3 weeks ago. That was the last time. I'm pretty sure that I'll go up again in a couple of years, but I'm not sure after that. The whole program, or whatever they call it, is going to change in July 2021. I think they said 8th, but it could also have been 18th. I wasn't hearing very well. They weren't trying to intimidate me or even warn me. So I don't think we have anything to worry about. I hope they don't show the videos they took of me when they first started taking me up, because I was so scared and young, and they're embarrassing. Just, I don't know. And by the way, guys, this is gonna get into question territory right now, okay? Because he just finished. This is the first post, right? We just spent all this time going through his first message, right? Post or comment. Now we're gonna get to the skeptics and the challenges and even deeper descriptions that prove this to be either a really sophisticated schizophrenic or this happened to the guy. Question from fucking Jamie Heineman AMA, which is not the one you're thinking of, not Ghostbusters or Mythbusters. Sorry. Of all the things that didn't happen, this didn't happen the most. Jamie Hyman. Throawaylien. I get that you don't believe me, and I don't blame you. I wouldn't believe it either if I'd never experienced it, I think. Anyway, July of 2021, and you'll change your tune. Question. And by the way, from here on out, guys, these questions are, I'm not going to put the names of the Redditors. It's easier for me, and it doesn't matter. It's just questions from people, right? I will point out, though, when the questions are from the same person, because I know I've read this so many fucking times. I know it all by memory. So, yeah, I got you. And links are obviously going to be in the description, so you can go fucking check it out for yourself. Okay, so somebody goes, so how were the pyramids built? I don't know. I've seen footage of building and footage of them being used, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you how. I'm not an engineer. I am pretty sure of this, though, that they've only ever observed. They've taken a few of us, and they've taken a few of us for good. For good, too. Because I know there are some of us that have gone back with them. But I don't think they're ever taken... But I don't think they've ever taken any sort of action on our planet. They don't control the weather, build the pyramids, and they didn't give Hitler instructions. I think the ones who take me are sort of like college students. I know it sounds silly, but it seems like the ones who take me up, but it seems like the ones who come here are doing research or maybe even writing home about it. Question. So why don't you set up some wireless cams around your house in one bedroom, two outside, on both sides of your house, but far enough away to record above your roof? Always wear a tiny MP3 voice recording device in your pajama pocket. Heck, buy some Google glasses. Leave a pocket camera near your bed. Get one of those house arrest proximity anklets that sound off an alarm so loud it would wake up your entire neighborhood if you went more than 50 feet away. Ask the aliens for lotto numbers, meaning of life. What is the highest truth? To give you superpowers, to give you some proof, and that you are not just dreaming. Why do repeat abductees have so little imagination? Okay. Yeah? Really? Okay. Shouldn't have talked about imagination because this guy's about to fucking bring some out. Throawaylien. Ask me these questions after you've been in the same or similar of a situation. Edit. Also, I mentioned elsewhere. I mentioned somewhere else, but they almost never come to get me at my house. And by the way, he says almost never. Okay, almost means almost, but not all the time. All right, come to get me in my house, and I'm never asleep. I don't know why people always claim that this happens when they're asleep, but I usually don't believe those people. Okay, cool. Yeah, same. Okay, and then this is a question from somebody, different person. I so hope your story is real! Exclamation. Worldwide alien contact in 8 years? Question mark! Exclamation. So exciting! Exclamation. Anything else you talked about that you can share? Throawaylien says, I could talk about all of it, I guess. I'm afraid of people, not aliens. Question from a new poster. New person. English from 300 years ago would be very understandable for any native speaker now. You could go back 500 years and still understand English. How do you think we understand and appreciate Shakespeare? Throawaylien replies, reading and hearing are two different things. I can't understand Scottish people today or people with really thick Appalachian accents. I don't read a lot of Shakespeare, but I've heard that it takes quite a bit of study to understand what his double meanings and stuff actually mean. So I'm not sure that's a good example. Anyway, I answered someone else on this question, and it's not like they only take people from my block or my town. A guy videotaped 200 or 300 years ago from northern Canada or London. It's really difficult to understand them. Plus, they're often scared, often crying. They have tapes. Tapes is not really the right word, I know. But they have tapes of people from all over. But they only ever showed me people speaking English. And then a few times they've showed me people speaking other languages, but I think just to test my reaction. Which is fucking wild, right? Because, again, if you're making this up, you're all in at this point. You're fucking... And by the way, you're going to think he's all in later. But you'll realize at the end of it all that he's all in now with all this. Like, if he's faking it, right? I mean, I'm speaking strictly as if he's faking this. If it's a LARP, right? Which I'm going to be the fucking kook out here to say I highly doubt that this is a LARP. I'm just going to start fucking turning the fucking tide here. If we're in the movement of disclosure and all my other YouTube allies have been doing a good job being the middle grounded people, why don't I just be the YouTuber Richard Doty, but the side that was telling the truth? You know? Like he said, all the crazy stuff and all the true stuff, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. And a lot of the crazy stuff out there is actually the truth. So you know what? I did my years working as a chemist for the Department of Energy. I'm pretty fucking sure that all of this is it's happening. Especially after Jesse and UFO Gerb's video yesterday. this is what's making me finally put out my first video. It's time, it's time. What am I doing? I'm a chemist working out of Miami, Florida. Haven't really done anything science-wise. Been selling health insurance, trying to make money, but this is my passion. This is what I know is real. This is what I know I finally got close to, and well, life gets in the way and you can't always do what you love. But this is free. As long as I can pay my internet bill, right? So here, I'm gonna go in. Question: how exactly do you get abducted / taken? By which method? Willingly, yeah, like you get up and walk. There's not a lot of fighting and wrestling, nothing like that. I suppose if you tried that, then they might get rough with you, but I don't know. And yes, crying. It's scary as hell. I've said that over and over again. It's not traumatic, I don't think. Though, as I've said, it might be for some people. But it's still scary for the first time. Or the first few times. I guess I should be clear about fear and being scared. Right? My point is that you aren't afraid that they're going to kill you. And there's no probing, no raping, nothing like that. It's scary because it's just scary. But at least for me, I absolutely knew the very first time that I'd be coming home. That they weren't going to kidnap me or kill me or anything like that. It's like going to the hospital or like talking to your dog or like taking your dog to the vet. You go willingly, but it's still scary. And right now, if you're thinking, and yes, used. And yes, used. What's odd about that being used? Add in by me. But he did put what's odd about that. I'm not sure exactly. Why is that funny? I'm using a building right now. If you're thinking like using pyramids for space travel or to communicate with Mars or something, that's all Hollywood nonsense and that's in your head. I've always fucking said this. But whatever. Anyways, next question. Somebody goes, dude, please tell me you're telling the truth. Throwaylien then replies, I made a throwaway account because no one believes this, and everyone would think that I'm crazy. And you know what? It wouldn't be any better in 2021 after everyone knows. They would just ignore me. It's all true. Next question goes, thank you for posting this. Have you been in contact with ICAR, ICAR, International Center for Abduction Research? I think it would be of value to you both. To which then Throwaylien replies, something that I would have probably replied to. I know 3 other people who are taken up as regularly as I am, and we've talked about ICAR. I've never been in contact with the ICAR people, and to tell you the truth, I don't think ICAR is necessary or real. Maybe other people's experiences are different, but I don't think it's traumatic. Neither do my friends. I'm not sure friends, quote unquote, is the right word. I'm not sure friends is, quote unquote, the right word. We met on a ship and we're sort of in contact, but we don't see each other ever. It's not normal and it's scary as hell, but there just isn't all the probing and the mind scanning stuff that is on the ICAR website. And hell, and all that talk about alien human hybrids is, I don't know, fun, I guess. And it sounds an awful lot like X-Files, but it's not very real, I don't think. The gray guys, by the way, they aren't really all that small. They're about the size of a small woman, can sort of zap ideas and words and thoughts into your head. But they can't read your thoughts. They just can't. I've thought some awful stuff while up there, and they've never said anything about it, so I don't think they can read thoughts. Sweet. Question from somebody else. or maybe the same person, I'm not sure. I think David Jacobs and iCar, in their wacky way, do provide a service in that they help folks who are not at peace with their experience have a better understanding of it. Dr. Jacobs is entitled to his opinions and conclusions based on the information presented. I think he develops vernacular that describes what he's been told and, yep, has the capability to sound really out there. Mind scanning? Sounds nutty, but several in this thread have described just that. There are some similarities, and there are more similarities than dissimilarities in the abduction experience. But there seem to be as many types of abductors as there are abductee experiences. You got lucky and got the tall grays. Stupid. But I'm glad you're cool with what's happening to you. I got pulled into this world/research by a friend who has been an experiencer for the past 20 years or so. He is still panicked and undone by it, as are his sons, with whom he shares events. I wish their experiences were less traumatizing. We have a lot to learn from it all. To which then Throawaylien replies, just from what I read, I think that half of the stuff out there is probably outright made up. Same. The other half, I don't know. I wouldn't believe it all from what I read. Maybe people are traumatized by it, and that changes their memory of it, like the way they remember it. I don't know. Here's another thing that I should have mentioned. It never happens when I'm asleep. I don't really believe these stories that start, I went to bed, or if it's about an abduction in a bedroom. I don't believe those. I am always awake, and I'm never in my house. I don't think they've ever come into my house to take me, but they don't schedule it with you ahead of time either. I don't mean that. Question. Awesome. Please tell more. You have to have some thoughts on what their agenda is. Do you have any idea why this is seemingly covered up? As for a cover-up, I'm not sure that there is a cover-up. I don't know that any government really know what is going on. It wouldn't surprise me, but I haven't seen any evidence of a cover-up. I've never been taken up to have tea with Jimmy Carter, for example. Rest in peace. Having tea with Jimmy Carter isn't something that goes on up there. But I mean, even in this thread, there's plenty of evidence for why they might want to cover this up. It's because people can't handle it. People can't believe that they're not alone. Can't believe that there's something up there that's smarter than us. But that isn't God? I don't know. Yeah. Unfortunately. He continues. Their agenda is really the more interesting question. Unfortunately, I have no idea what it is. I really can't even guess. They don't seem to be evil or anything like that, so I don't think they want to farm us or use us to make some super race or slave labor. They have never asked me, for example, where to get gold. They've asked me about money and about gold, but more like they were just asking and interested. Not like they wanted our gold. They seem interested in water or wood or diamonds. Oh, sorry. He goes, they don't seem interested in water or wood or diamonds. I have no idea what they want. Sometimes I think that maybe they just want to be friends, but I know that can't be true because they aren't really friendly. But there is this. They always make a big deal about giving me a bowl of salt when I'm there. Now, I think they're confused about us. Like, we want salt as a gift, but I guess maybe they love salt. Maybe they're after salt. I don't think so, though. I think they just think it's polite. Cool. Same. Question. The reason I ask about the cover-up is that, and this is the same guy, is that in many stories I read, people are told to shut up by government officials, was simply hoping you had some insight into this. To which then, the question continues here. I find the salt thing pretty interesting / funny. As you probably know, salt for a very long time was one of the most coveted commodities humans had, usually only reserved for royalty and the like. In fact, the term salary, from what I understand, derives its etymology from the same place as the French word for salt, sal. Same thing in Spanish, sal. So perhaps, if everything you say is true, they are using some archaic form of gift giving in hopes of appeasing you. So this question is continued here, and this is the last portion of it. One last question. Why do you believe that your story's tone is so different from the other abduction stories I read, where people feel far more violated? Do you believe you are simply more accustomed to these experiences than they are? To which then Throawaylien replies, I understood why you were asking. I just don't know anything about a cover-up. If there is one, then I guess it would make sense that the government wouldn't know to tell me to shut up because I don't really talk about it. That's what I thought about the salt. I just can't tell whether they think it's a great gift or whether they think that I think it's a great gift. Either way, I usually smile and taste a little bit of it, and then that's the end of that. As for appeasing me, yeah, they don't seem to be interested in that. They're in charge, and they know it. I think my tone is so different because most of these stories you hear are actually nightmares. That's what I believe. A lot of people think that they're abducted by aliens and probed and stuff, and it all just sounds so much like a nightmare. And that's me adding the but continuing here. I think it's people looking for attention, or maybe who have had nightmares and really believe that they've experienced something real. And there are some people who are kind of crazy too. My friends, the ones that I'm sort of in touch with every now and again, have all wondered if they were schizophrenic. And one even talked with his cousin who is a psychiatrist or psychologist, whichever, the kind that goes to medical school first. The thing is that sometimes I hear people talk about abduction and I know that they're making it up. And sometimes I hear people talk about it and I think, yeah, that could have happened. It's odd to me, though, that there are so many stories about people being abducted once and just once. That doesn't seem to be normal to me. Okay, cool. Question. Forgive my persistence, but I'd like to ask you 2 last questions. Do you have any inkling as to why you have been subjected to this instead of the next guy? Have you ever experienced any other out of the ordinary things? To which Throawaylien then replies, I have never had anything at all out of the ordinary happen to me. Other than this, I mean. Oh, and I had a baby tooth that didn't fall out until I was in my late 20s. That's a little odd. Question. Do you think they're going to help us, or do you think we are meaningless and want to get Question. Do you think they're going to help us, or do they think we are meaningless and want to get rid of us? They're not starting an apocalypse, are they? He says, they're not starting an apocalypse, are they? If you know, but what is your best guess? To which then Throawaylien replies, I don't think either. I don't think they want to help us or get rid of us. It really bothers me, to tell you the truth. What really bothers me, what bothers me about it, I don't think either. I don't think they want to help us or get rid of us. It really bothers me, to tell you the truth. What bothers me about it is that I don't know what they want. I feel like they aren't going to kill us all or enslave us. I just don't believe that's what they're after. I think my best guess is that we're kind of like rats in a lab, or dolphins. We study dolphins all the time, but we aren't trying to kill them or help them, just study them. That's what I think. I hope. I have never seen a single weapon while with them, or at least nothing that I could identify as a weapon. Question: what sort of feeling did you get around them exactly? An anxiety, uneasy feeling, a comforting feeling? I'm very interested in this as I work with a woman who is channeling from an extraterrestrial species called the Pleiadians. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, and I myself have revived a bit information, but I'm unsure if it's from the same species as her. Jesus fucking Christ. That was the question, by the way. To which then Throawaylien replies, now, when it happens, I feel annoyed more than anything. I don't know how long it will take, and I can't say, oh, how about next week? At first, it was nervous, though, and scared a bit. I think he meant to say, like, I was nervous. But like I mentioned earlier, it was never, it was scared when you go to the doctor. I do get a feeling like my skin is tacky or sticky and my hair stands up on my arms and legs all over, but that's only on the ship. So I think it has to do with the machines that they have, or maybe they use magnets or something. No idea there. But feeling? It's more anxiety than comfort. But it's not too bad anymore. I have to admit, though, I'm awful skeptical of channeling. I don't really believe it, but I know that when I'm on the ship, they can put words into my head. So maybe they can do that over a really long distance. I don't know if I know. You know, that's the tone. Anyways, I'm trying to like also act the part. I try to sometimes commit to it and then sometimes don't throughout this video. I'll put a disclaimer in the video, but I'm also going to leave this in here because, yeah, I have to remind you guys, I'm kind of trying to play the part as like my actor side. I'm trying to, I've never acted, but I'm just trying to like see, you know, I'm in front of a camera, so might as well. And so now we continue, right, guys? So the next question goes, that's essentially what channeling is. The long distance putting words into one's head, to the best of my understanding. She says she has been brought onto their ship before. I, however, have never, as far as I know, been on their ship. And to be honest, sometimes I'm skeptical of my personal channeling experiences. No shit. But she says the ones he's spoken to are absolutely wonderful and pretty much radiate love. Yeah, sure. I give channeling a good benefit of the doubt, but there are definitely a ton of people out there bullshitting about it. From what you've said about your experiences, it seems they are entirely lacking of emotion and are very stiff, logical, and physical beings. I think you may be right with the dolphin thing, that they don't necessarily want to hurt us. Rather, study us, I guess, a primitive hominid they just so happened to come across. Well, if you're thinking about the Lacerta Files, so it continues, have they performed any physical tests? A few other people on this thread said that they had ETs take eggs/sperm/tissue samples. If so, what are the tests like? I hope you don't mind me asking so many questions. If so, what are the tests like? I hope you don't mind me asking so many questions. Throawaylien then replies, I don't mind answering. They do seem stiff and logical and all that with me, but that may be just because they're working. Like I said, I'm kind of close to a couple of them, and by that I mean I've told them some jokes and they kind of chuckle. Though I don't know if they get it. Like I said, I'm kind of close to a couple of them, and by that I mean that I've told them some jokes and they kind of chuckle, though I don't know if they get it. And sometimes they look at me and I can tell that they feel something like sympathy or kindness to me. Physical tests, not so much. They stick me for a tissue sample each time. They've taken hair. They do the x-rays sometimes. They've asked me to pee in cups and to ejaculate in a cup. I've heard people tell stories about them presenting abducted women for that. And that's all fantasy, thank God. Holy shit. It's just like a doctor's office. They give you a cap and tell you to do it. Okay, cool. And if you can't, they'll unblock the hub from Florida. And if you can't, they'll give you some privacy. Yeah, some privacy. Oh, there is one thing. They do touch you all over and make you open up your clothes when you leave. But I think it's because they want to make sure you don't have any of their tools or anything. Oh, shit. You know, I never really focused on this part before. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. If you're a physical being, you gotta fucking check. Yeah. Anyways, the next question. You're right. Or the same person. You're right. They do sound exactly like a doctor's office with all that. It's so nice of the two you're somewhat close to at least give you names to call them. So they all look exactly the same, or are there any small physical differences between them? It must be somewhat neat after a while to have contact with them, even if it is convenient and somewhat annoying. Have they questioned you on things like emotion? These people, from what you've told me, certainly do not seem mean in the slightest bit. I would imagine the tissue sampling is rather painful. Does it leave little scars and whatnot? Have you seen any other humans on the ship? To which then Throawaylien replies, oh yeah, I've seen lots and lots of other humans. And like I mentioned, I've seen lots of videos of other humans. You know, I wonder about whether or not they all look alike. To me, yeah, they pretty much do. I can tell a little difference in Gina because he or she has a scar, or what looks like a scar on the right hand. That's a good thing to mention. They are human-like, 2 feet and 2 eyes and all that, but they only have 3 fingers, long, ugly fingers. There's a thumb-ish thing too, but it's pretty short and it's more like a stump. They aren't all the same height, but I don't know if the shorter ones are female or male or something like that. Question. I'm sure we humans all look the same to them too. I'm trying to picture the hands. Seems really spooky looking. Is the stump thing one of the 3 fingers? I feel like it would make sense if one gender was shorter or taller than the other, if they have gender to begin with. What sort of clothing do they wear? Do they all wear the same thing as each other? Are their heads as giant as they are depicted to be in books and whatnot? When you are one with them for long periods of time, does anyone on Earth notice your absence? I really, really appreciate your answer. My 60 zillion questions. I really think it's great you have this contact with them. Honestly, I would be honored if I got to shake hands with one. Hell, I'd probably end up giving one a hug after a while because I'd be so happy to another planet's species. Do they do handshakes / hugs? Kind of a silly question for me to ask. I just really want to know if they seem at all emotionally close with each other. And this is sort of a weird question, but the next time you see them, if it's not too much trouble, could just kind of tell them I said hello. I know that they probably have no idea who I am and that it won't mean anything to them, but I sort of want them to know there is another human out there thinking about them specifically. I love knowing there is other life out there. It really gives me hope and sort of a calmness knowing Earth is not alone. Yeah, fucking... No, we're definitely not alone. To which then Throawaylien replies, will reply tomorrow. Am sleepy. I was kind of afraid of this question because you're going to think that this is crazy. But they do two things. I have never seen them hug, but sometimes they will touch each other on the small of the back, or where the small of the back is on humans, like the lower back. And when they meet each other, I've seen them do this thing where they touch the back of their hands together, sort of halfway in between the backward handshake and a fist bump. They've never done either with me. Okay. Question. No worries. I don't think that's crazy at all. Seems to me it would make sense for them to have different greeting customs. My best guess is that maybe when they touch the small of the back, it is some sort of endearing gesture. I can kind of picture Jack and Gina doing it, but I've never met them. Oh, this was a question. Yeah. All right, yeah. I can kind of picture Jack and Gina doing it, but I've never met them, so I don't know. Have you ever tried to do the handshake thing and they simply did not respond to you, or has it just never been initiated? To which then he replies, as for how you said you might have internal changes you're unaware of, or sorry. This is the question continued. He goes, or has it just never been initiated? As for how you said you might have internal changes you're unaware of, have you experienced any health problems from their tests, or had any human doctor notice anything out of the norm? Throawaylien says, they've never initiated a handshake / backhand thing with me. I would do it if they did, though. I've never tried to touch them either. One of my friends she says, and she says touched hands with them and felt their head, and also taken one of their hands and put it on her own hair to feel. Touch is a really sensitive thing. Interesting. Yeah. Touch is a really sensitive thing. No health problems that I know of, or that I'm willing to talk about anyways. Wow. Question. Have you and your friend ever been taken up at the same time? Sorry about questions about health problems. Guess I got carried away and got a bit invasive. It's really awesome that you've been able to have these experiences with ETs. Most people in their lifetime will never get these. Will never get to see a UFO, and you've been able to interact with other beings. I'd be honored if I got meet one, honestly. LOL. Throwaylien then replies, yeah, these three people who I call my friends because have each other's phone numbers and we talk sometimes. We all met on a ship, but not at the same time. I'll make up names for them so that I can talk about them a little easier. I'll call them Coach, Sam, and Diane. I met Coach first. He's about my age and he is from the US. But I don't think I should say any more about where he's from. He's a minor celebrity, actually. So best just leave it at that. He had been up a few times by the time we met. Sam is 10 years older than I am. He does not live in the United States, but he does speak English. We met on my 4th trip, and he was up at the tail end of my long 3-week stay, but we just waved at each other in the hallway. Diane a minor, so I shouldn't say anything about her. But I met her up there when she was 4. I forgot about that. I've never had children, and I don't think I ever will, so I'm sort of Diane's uncle in a non-creepy way. Diane's father is not in the picture, but her mother and stepfather know about the abductions. I've been to their houses several times. Oh, okay. I actually forgot about this little girl, completely. Throwaylien then continues, saying, the tissue sampling is a bit painful, but it's not much worse than getting a shot. It doesn't leave any marks at all, so far as I can tell. I've got a bald patch on my arm from a test they did on me, but that's not a big deal. But who knows what I look like internally? There might be big changes internally that I don't realize. Question. Your posts have fascinated me / entertained me for the past 2 days. Haha. Thanks for your time. If you don't mind, would you post pics of the areas where they did the tests? NASA is always very careful about bringing back foreign bacteria / viruses, even from the moon. If you were in contact with the aliens, I wonder why they didn't take precautions to protect themselves or protect you from yours or their bacteria / viruses. Throawaylien replies to that. The little ships, well, I guess all that ships actually feel very sterile. They feel like they are super, super clean. I don't know if they are. I've never stopped to think about that before, to tell you the truth. But the ships always feel very clean. So maybe they are taking precautions that I don't know about. And I guess it's also possible that we just don't get the same diseases. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Throwaylien continues. I have never seen the big ship from the outside, so I don't know what it looks like. The little ships don't have windows, so I can't see out. The little ships are the shape of hot dogs, sort of. Boy, this sounds stupid, but kind of like VW microbus vans, but a little bit bigger. The outside is a kind of gunmetal blue that looks wet, glassy. They use those to come to Earth. They never communicate to me that they're going to pick me up ahead of time, which would make my life a lot easier. I usually know that they're following me because my radio doesn't work in my car. If I'm on the phone, I'll have a lot of dropped calls. Now, because it's happened so much and I'm used to it, I don't put up a fight. I know they're there, so I park and I wait for them. The first time it happened, I think he says 12. Let's see. 12. Yeah, and they took me at about 8:30 p.m. at night. I was in my backyard and my mom was out of town on a business trip. My dad was inside and he was pissed off when I came home. Anyway, they do it just like you'd think. They wait until I'm alone and then they come and get me. If I'm at home, they knock on the door. That's what happened once, though. That's only happened once, though. If I'm out for a run at night, they'll wait until I'm alone and then land, and one of them motions at me or says, "Hi, Throwaylien, it's time for a trip." Okay. It's never, ever, ever more than 2 of them on the small ships. Gina is always there and has been there and has been for the last 10 or 15 years. Inside the small ship, there are 2 seats in the middle of that face each other, and that's where they sit. The sort of back half of the vehicle is closed off, and I can't see in there, but I'm pretty sure the engines are in there. All along the rim of it, on the inside is a bench. It's metal or something like metal. I have never seen a comfortable seat or chair or bench up in there. They all sit on flat, hard surfaces, as far as I know. The ships are lit on the floor and on the walls, and there are no light fixtures anywhere. There's no radio, no nothing. I think those ships are remote controlled. Inside the big ships is a lot different. Whoops. Anyways, as I was typing, I guess he submitted by accident. So he continues. Inside the big ship is completely different. The little ship docks in the ship. The end where there is no engine, it opens up, and that's where we walk out. There's a series of bays where these little ships dock. We walk out and through a little hall, and then that opens into a big room where they work on small ships. and have projects going. So they work on small ships and have projects going. Okay. I've never been to the other side of that room. Off to the right, and it's always to the right. So we must always park in the same place? Question mark. Is a waiting room. Okay, so he's saying like always to the right. Is a waiting room. That's why they park there. That's where we go immediately. I sit there. Sometimes there are other people there. That's where I met my friends that I mentioned earlier. People there are usually scared. There are 5 doors off the room, arched doorways with sliding doors. Okay? But they are not automatic doors. All caps, not. They have to touch a button for them to open. I can do that too, so it's not like a fingerprint scanner. One of those rooms I've never been in, but the other 4 I know are exam rooms. That's where we go in and they ask questions, where the walls are like x-ray machines. Sometimes they show me videos on those walls too, but not. Sometimes they show me videos on those walls too, but not usually. Okay. After that, there is another room, and the door to that room is on the other wall. So imagine you walk in on the west side. The 5 doors to exam rooms, the 5 doors to exam rooms are on the east side. And then this door is on the north side. I know directions make no sense up there, but I'm trying to explain it. The north side door opens up to a big medical room. That's the only place I've ever seen them do anything bad at all. That's where people are really scared. A couple of times I've seen people sitting up on tables, but they weren't doing surgery or anything. It's in that room that they stick you and take tissue samples. Usually they tell you what they are doing. That room has a door on its north side too, and it opens up to a different waiting room. It's pretty relaxed in that room. Okay, lights all on the walls or on the floor. Never seen a light fixture. Same as so many other fucking people, by the way. Never seen a light fixture, but there's light everywhere, and it's brilliant, and it goes everywhere for some reason. Seats are all benches, all built into the wall or the floor. There are a few cabinet. There are a few cabinet-looking things in the medical room, but that's it. No computers, no terminals, nothing like that. In that waiting room, there are a couple of places for us to sit and drink hot water. Hot water blows, bro. I don't know why. I don't know why, but they give us hot water. And off that room is the room where we meet with them and they talk, and they really talk, ask questions, show us things. In that room is a table not for people to lay on, but that we sit at. There are usually 2 of them in there, but not always the same ones. I go in, I sit down, they offer me some salt, and they show me a video or ask me a question. Sometimes they have different kinds of food that they show me or ask me about. That's about it. Oh, wait. Also, there's a hallway of dorm rooms. Dorm rooms? I guess that's what you'd call them. They have blankets and a toilet bucket. They also have a big tank of water, like one of those Culligan tanks, except it's like the water holds itself together naturally. Like there's no plastic around it. You know, like a gravitational field or an electromagnetic, because water is charged. I don't know. Or able to transduce it, like move charge, you know? Anyways, for all the physics and electrical engineering nerds, they have blankets and a toilet bucket and a toilet bucket. Okay. They also have a big tank of of water, like those color-getting tanks. No plastic around it. Water holds itself. Okay. There are usually a couple of books or magazines in there and a flat, hard bench to sleep on. No pillows. Sucks. That's where you... And by the way, he said sucks, not me, but that sucks. That's where you get stuck if they want to keep you. If you need anything or if they need you to do something, they walk you back out to the little ships. Question. Are the hatches of the small ships distinguishable? How thick and complex are the hatches/doors? Also, would you know if the mothership is spinning? I can't fathom any other way gravity is formed unless it's one huge centrifuge. Throawaylien then replies, I don't understand the first part of the question. The second part, I don't know. It could be spinning, I guess. I'm not sure even how high up we are. We could be in space, or I guess we could be like where satellites are. Question. So it's obvious you're in space? Question mark. And then it continues the question. Hatches as in doors on the spaceship or ships or airplanes, submarines, hatches as in doors on the spaceship. On ships, airplanes, submarines, everything is a hatch and not a door, since they must have isolating properties, keeping water/outside environment out. I'm curious if they're substantial like ours and require two hands to operate, to twist and manipulate the several locking and securing mechanisms within the hatch. If the mothership is spinning, that means the shuttle you were in did not have gravity in space, so you were weightless. When the craft entered space, there were no way to secure yourself to the bench? Question mark. I'd imagine the forces involved would toss you all over the place. Unless you did say they are far but close, meaning they could be interdimensional. Yeah, no fucking shit, dude. Like, Lacerta Files, bro. Anyways, or we just don't understand. I'm kidding about the Lacerta Files, guys. Like, I don't necessarily believe that. The same way that Chris doesn't necessarily believe it. I just, based on this story, it's just really cool. Like, I don't know. Let's just have fun, okay? Anyways, I'm curious if they're substantial like ours and require two hands to operate, to twist and manipulate the several locking and securing mechanisms within the hatch. If the mothership is spinning, that means the shuttle you were in did not have gravity in space, so you were weightless when the craft entered space. There were no way to secure yourself to the bench. I'd imagine the forces involved would toss you all over the place, unless you did say they are far but close, meaning they could be interdimensional, or we just don't understand space travel over long distances as they do, so the craft never moves. The craft never really moves in relation to Earth, but goes somewhere else we cannot possibly understand. What forces do you feel when the craft starts moving? Do you see the craft coming down as you wait for them, or does it just materialize out of thin air? Are the insides of the ships full of pipes, mechanical mechanisms, wires, cables, blinking lights? What sounds can be heard in the small craft and in the big mothership? Is it more of a 1950s style, smooth plastic, minimalistic type, or more of a 1980s style Star Wars/Alien franchise where everything is very industrial, worn, and obvious signs of usage? Haha, that's an avalanche of questions. Sorry, I'm just curious. To which then Throawaylien replies, okay, I get that. Well, it's the whole third of the small ships that opens. So it's not exactly like a hatch, I guess. But there's a god-awful lot of noise when it does, which I always assumed was pressurizing or depressurizing or whatever. I have never been or felt weightless except on the return ships. It feels like you're on an elevator that starts really quickly. And no, I've never had to be restrained or to wear a seatbelt. Like I said, though, the only feeling of motion is the dropping feeling when we come back. Although, now that you've mentioned it, I don't know if it's actually down or not. I'll ask my friends if they know. Yeah, close to the side. No idea what that means, and I can't really understand interdimensional travel or materializing out of thin air. I mean, I just can't understand that. So if that's the case, I guess it might be, then you'll have to wait to ask them. Or else maybe one of the other people they take will come forward and have a better understanding. As for the interior, I haven't seen any pipes, no cables, but there are a lot of lights. There are lights all over the place. The ships are very, very simple, very empty and plain. There are some signs of wear, but it's mostly just empty and sparse. Question. Cool. Thanks for the answers. So you can physically see the craft coming down as you wait for them? Or usually it's already landed? What does it use to brace it against the ground? Legs, wheels, LOL. Can you describe that god-awful sound? What does it smell like through the ships? Smells of fuel, ozone, etc.? I take it there's no windows in the mothership. Have you ever seen if they have a written language when they examine you? They must have something to document it in writing. In writing? No other screens to show the outside or any form of navigation? What are the light sources? Is it behind the walls / floors where you can't see the bulbs? LOL, I think I can't help myself with the questions. I seriously applaud you for taking the time to answer all of these. Edit. Oh, and would one of your friends be George St. Pierre, the UFC fighter? Throwaylien replies. The small ships float and can fly, obviously, but they land directly on the ground. They have no landing gear. The bottom of it is flat, so it can land on the ground like that. It smells like bleach on the ships. The guys themselves smell like fruit, like apples and bananas and strawberries. The fuck? It's kind of unpleasant, okay? But the ships smell like bleach. I've never seen a window on the big ship, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have a written language because there are symbols. There are some symbols on doors, some on some walls, that kind of thing. But they never write. I never see them write anything down. They never carry paper or an iPad or anything. Even when they do exams on people, they don't write anything down. And when they take tissue samples, they don't label them. Question. Do you feel like you have any choice in going? If you told them that you didn't want to be involved anymore, would they leave you alone? Also, if someone wanted to volunteer as a subject, do you think they would take them? To which then Throwaylien replies, no, I don't think that I could refuse. I'm not sure how one would volunteer. Next time I'm up, I'll mention Reddit user and see if they're interested. Question. Please don't go away and leave us all hanging. I have a billion questions. Would love to know more. Do an AMA or something? Just don't leave it like this. I find the idea of actual conversations with aliens fascinating. Their mannerisms and opinions on things and so on. The idea that they watch our TV and ask you about it. Would they enjoy it or get it? Like, what the fuck would an alien think of 2001? Or even how grays are depicted in our TV and so on. They have videos of our past. WTF, please tell us more. You say they don't like questions. I mean, do they shut you down when you ask them questions at all? Can you talk about some conversations in more detail, please? To which then Throwaylien replies, we'll reply tomorrow. I am sleepy. And then he continues, I don't know how many videos they have or how much video they have, but they don't have footage of like the Kennedy assassination, just to pick something in the news right now. They might have it, I guess, but I haven't seen it. All that I've seen is very boring, very run-of-the-mill. It's like videos of your uncle working on his motorcycle or a guy herding sheep. Very boring stuff mostly. The pyramids are pretty exciting, but the video was more about people living together and building something, not about building the pyramids, if that makes sense. They do watch our TV and they ask about it. I think they ask mostly about the things that they can't quite understand. I'm always a little afraid that if we're doing a TV session that I'll hear the X-Files theme. I'm not sure how I would handle that. Question, boring? This is recordings an alien made of us through history. There are many people who would kill to see this stuff. When you say things like video was more about people living together and building something, I mean, what are you actually seeing here? A hidden camera style thing? How is it shot, edited, and composed? Are they just aerial shots of the region at the time, zoomed in, or more up close? Like, what is the situation around how this stuff was filmed? If you have no problems talking about this stuff, then it's really gritty details that I would love to hear. And this is the stuff that's never talked about in detail. What kind of body language do they have? What do they actually ask you about regarding our TV? I mean, there's so much that can be communicated through films, emotions, thoughts, ideas, themes, etc. Do they understand any of this? Moved by any of this? What do they think about our ideas of aliens? I mean, aliens are everywhere in our culture. Alienware laptops, for example, with a picture of an alien on it. Halloween costumes, blow-up balloons. What do they think about any of this? Have you yourself ever seen the movie 2001: Space Odyssey? I mean, the average human can't fathom what is going on in that movie. What would an alien think? Tell me they are not asking you about Transformers or something. What TV shows / movies do they ask you about specifically? Did you try to communicate to them your disinterest in the salt, for example? Is it out of fear or what? I mean, you're representing humanity here. Do you study history, philosophy, and human culture at all to give them better answers? Kind of a fucking dick answer, or question, or condescending tone, like Lacerta, but whatever. To which then Throawaylien replies, lots of questions here. Well, most of the vids I've seen are aerial, but they get down on the ground sometimes, and the videos of people talking, answering questions are all taken on the ship. Their body language is really stiff. Not sure how to describe it. Put an alien head on a pencil and stand it up. There you go. Except this really needs to be mentioned, that their heads are not so big like in the movies. They are bigger than ours, but not huge. Their eyes are bigger too, but not enormous like in the movies. They asked me a range of questions, mostly what is going on here? What is the purpose of this or that machine? Stuff like that. I don't think that they recognize our stereotypes of them. They got me one time when I was wearing a t-shirt with one of those huge alien heads on it, like a cartoon. They didn't say anything about it, so I'm not sure that they recognize that image as themselves. And you know, it might not be them. And you know what? It might not be them, I guess. And you know what? It might not be them, I guess. They have showed me clips of 2001: Space Odyssey, the movie is what he's talking about here. 2001: Space Odyssey. They have showed me clips of 2001: Space Odyssey and asked me about the light, the computer, how. They wanted to know if we thought that was a comedy or if it was funny. I said that it wasn't a funny movie. Just to be clear, most of the videos they've asked me about aren't movies, or at least aren't movies I've ever seen. They asked me what's happening in footage that they've taken and in home movies that they have, stuff like that. But they've showed me clips of a lot of movies, and here are the ones that I think off the top of my head. 2001, like I mentioned. Law and Order. Weird. A movie about a basketball player in the 1980s where the actor was Rob Lowe or Robbie Benson. Lots of clips of westerns that I don't know the names of, maybe even from television shows. And that movie where the girl from Interview with a Vampire is a cheerleader. The salt I just taste like it's normal. I don't want to offend them, and I can tell they want me to taste it or to take it. It's fucking hilarious. I went to college for 3 years, but didn't finish because of some family/money problems. So I don't know a lot about history, philosophy, etc. They don't seem interested in philosophy. They don't have religion, I know, because they don't understand it. They ask about that a lot. Like, is this an idol? About all sorts of things. They'll show a picture of, I don't know, a bridge or a donkey and be like, is this an idol? Those questions are so strange that I sometimes think that they are testing me, not trying to get information. I don't know. Question. Wow, I have so many questions, but kind of panicking because I feel like there isn't enough time or you are going to get bored talking. I mean, this stuff is huge. If this is true, you are potentially one of the most important humans on the planet due to the mere fact that you have conversations with these beings. The day proof of intelligent alien life comes to light will literally be one of the most important moments in human history. Agreed. The sheer scale of importance of interactions like these is astounding. Takes breath. Same. They ask you about HAL in 2001 A Space Odyssey he's referring to. Interesting. Do they understand the idea of artificial intelligence as we see it? The significance of this? Surely the creation of a new form of intelligence by humans would be something that raised their eyebrows if they had any. Do they have any form of robotics that you can see? There is always the potential that these beings are artificial intelligences themselves. Do they ask about nukes, war, or is it all largely trying to communicate culture? You seem to say they show you clips from movies to try to understand them. And do you feel you are able to explain very well to them what is going on in these clips? How do they generally react to your answers? Is there any other running theme in their questions outside of idol worship? Do you think they can actually get offended by refusing the salt? Instead of refusing, maybe accept it, but let them know that it does not mean to you what they might think it means. Due to them being curious, I imagine they would want to know this. They seem to treat you and think of us people from a long time ago. They seem to treat you and think of us as people from a long time ago, as if time is different for them or something. We have developed extremely fast in the past 100 years compared to any other time in history. It sounds like you are applying thinking to us that is no. It sounds like they are applying thinking to us that is no longer relevant, at least in the developed world. Arg, so many questions, but I'll hold on to them for now. Thank you for answering. Damn, fucking a pirate asked that question, dude. Crazy. All right, Throwaylien has a bad joke. Throwaylien then replies, wow, lots of questions. About HAL, the computer from 2001 A Space Odyssey. I feel like they thought it was funny. A comedy. I don't know why, so I just assume that they think it's funny that a machine could think on its own. Whoa, let's back up. I'm not one of the most important people on the planet. There are quite a few of us, I think, who they take up regularly, and I don't think any of us are that special. I could be wrong though. Okay, back to questions. They've never asked about nukes. But they've asked me about wars. They have footage of soldiers that they picked up, I think, during World War I based on the clothes. British guys. They tore them up with questions, and the guys were very scared. But I think it was the war that scared them. They want to know why we fought and what I think the result was. But I don't think they are pacifists at all. They show no emotion, no reaction at all to most of my answers. They only ever sometimes react with something like sadness. Question. There's a link to a YouTube video. I think it's the Skinny Bob video. I'm not sure. I have to check. I'll put it in this video. Does this guy look like one of them? This is a video of that famous alien autopsy hoax. Oh, so it's the alien autopsy video. Throwaylien replies, haha, no, they don't look like that. Most of them are skinny. They don't have those big guts. Heads aren't quite that big either. Noses are way flatter. Very small, but way flatter. Question, haha, it feels like in a 1v1 unarmed combat, we can destroy them easily. I guess they never told you how they evolved or what their planet looks like, what they eat. By the way, what did they feed you when you were there for 3 weeks? And when they took your semen samples, did they give you some material to jerk off to? What do their voices sound like in your head? How does it feel when that happens? I can't even imagine it. It's almost like they're putting thoughts into my head, and I wouldn't know if it's my own or not. Does Gina have a specific female voice in your head? To expand on other person's question, any minor details you can disclose on any of those videos from thousands of years ago would be great. Like any detail at all: clothing, style, tools, speech, behaviors, food, pets, sexual acts, prehistorical crime, etc. Okay, to which then my boy replies, Throawaylien replies, lots of questions. No, we could not destroy them. They are extremely strong. Tough to explain how I know that, but you can just tell when they touch you. No idea how they evolved or were created. Planet, eat, nothing. I lost about 10 pounds over the 3 weeks I was with them, mostly because I had no appetite. They gave me flatbread, butter, and fruit. That was it. I think they might be vegetarian. Haha, no, I have no idea. Their voices all sound like sort of in between male and female in terms of high/low. But the way they speak is forceful, masculine. They have some trouble with vowels. For example, 8 and 18th both sound like 80. Something like that. 80. I do kind of hear Gina as female, but that might just be because I associate the name Gina with female gender. They didn't give me any magazines at first. Then they gave me all sorts of materials. I think they do that to figure out what turns us on. Question. You've mentioned not believing the stories of other abductees because of one-time abductions, probing/abuses, and sleep being involved in the story. You also mentioned that their world is both far away and close by. If the ones who take you seem to be roughly equivalent to college students, do you think it's possible that some abductors come with less benign intent and less organized backing? Is it possible that their species is as diverse as ours in personality? Is it then possible that some are serial killers, sadists, weirdos, etc.? I realize that a precise answer is probably impossible, but are you willing to speculate based on your understanding of them? To which then Throawaylien replies, tough to say. I think that yes, it's possible. There could be crazies out there, but the ones who take me are just very cold and professional. It seems like coming here would be really expensive or very difficult, and so I don't think they could just come here on a whim and murder for fun. But maybe, I guess. I guess what I'm saying is that I get the feeling that organized backing is definitely necessary, but that motives could be different. Question. People have been claiming since the 1950s that the aliens have told them their landings are imminent. To which then Throawaylien replies, imminent? Crazy where we are right now in history with imminent, the word, the book. Anyways, imminent is not really the right word. The better word is July 8th or 18th, 2021. Not really. Well, kind of. I'll make my case for that at the end of this series. There'll be a part 4. They were very clear about that, and they have been since they first took me. They have accents. Difficulty with vowels might be a better way to say it, so I can't be sure if they're saying 8th or 18th. It sounds like 80, no matter if it's 8 or 18. I would guess it's some sort of planet alignment or star alignment thing. I don't know. Same way they can only launch space shuttles on the right day because of atmospheric conditions and gravity. I'm not a physicist, so I don't understand it. No more questions. They are not happy about this. Sorry. And that concludes part 1. That's 20 pages. We got 2 more parts to go. So this is going to be about 4 to 5 part series. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you for being here with me through all this. Has been crazy. Reading that again myself is like, whoa. But maybe there's stories we can connect through all these. Either the schizos are telling us some cool sci-fi, or there's some people out there that have been trying to tell us something for a while. So, cool. Welcome to my first video, Non-Fictionation. Yeah. Disclosure. Let's get it.